I'm happy. Pleased with the performance. I thought from beginning to end it was solid performance. I mean, they had very little. Chris didn't have a ton of saves or difficult saves that he had to make. I thought defensively we were organized. I thought we were good in possession. We created chances. I think Blake made a couple good saves to pull some things from possibly from being out of the goal. That would be my only complaint, is I wish we would have put a few away earlier and we could have all enjoyed and relaxed in terms of our heart rates there towards the end. But I was very pleased with the performance. I thought it was a big moment for the team as they were coming into this game. They knew the importance of the game. And I thought we had one of our most solid beginning-to-end performances, where I thought everybody who came on the field or was a part of the game had a good, solid game. And so I was very proud of this group, and we continue to take steps forward.
Greg, Osorio had another great performance tonight. I know you're not a mind reader, but do you think that the fact that he's not getting called into the Canada squad is serving as motivation for him?
It's possible. I think it's fair for it to be motivation, but I think he's just enjoying playing the game right now. He's got a lot of good players around him. He can express himself on the field. He's got a lot of support, and he's just he's in a great rhythm right now, and he's very confident, and he has a lot of ability. We saw him put on a show at times today. He's got a lot of ability, and I think when everybody's playing well, then he's one of those guys that kind of thrives in that environment, and he had a wonderful game today. I thought he was excellent.
Greg, the team been scoring some unassisted goals. Do you feel that this is your time, especially by the third goal? Do you think this is?
Well, sure. I think obviously the first goal with Sebo was a little bit of deflection that found the back of the net, but for the amount of opportunities we have, their goalkeepers make great saves, or we get into good spots and we don't quite finish. For all of those, you get a couple that just bounce in your favor, and maybe some of those in the past didn't bounce in our favor, but tonight they did. And I think it's a product of constantly putting pressure on the goal, whether it's crosses across the face of the goal, or it's shots, or it's different things. You force the opposition's goalkeeper or defenders to have to make plays. Eventually that aggressive play will lead to something like that, an own goal or a deflected goal or something, and it was nice to be on the right side of that tonight, for sure.
It seemed like Josie was more involved tonight. We're used to seeing him pop up the odd goal this season, but he hasn't really connected yet like he did tonight. Was it something different? I thought he was outstanding. I thought his connection, as you said, is us being able to play into him and then combining off of it. I thought he must have been at 80 to 90% at least of bringing balls in, holding it up, connecting people into the game, bringing numbers forward, finding himself in good spots. The only thing I said to him in the first half is there's a couple of chances where he had the good looks at goal and he decided to lay him out to Robbie, and I'd love for him to hit those shots. And so we briefly talked about it at halftime, and in the second half he had one on his left foot that Blake makes a good save going, didn't even get off that post, but going back to his left, Blake makes a good save. But I felt like Josie's involvement in just being dangerous and bringing everybody into the game I thought it was excellent. I thought he was very much on. That's kind of my feeling. I thought everybody had a good game. I didn't think anybody's game today was subpar. I thought we saw a very solid 11, 12, 13 guys have good performances.
Finley coming off at the start of the second half, was that injury?
Yeah, he was feeling it and it's growing. So it was actually about, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes left in the first half where he was saying he was feeling it. We got enough to get him to the halftime, and then we could get Marky warmed up and come on. But yeah, it was more injury related. I don't know how bad it is, but we'll find out.
And Jackson, it was his first start in some time. How would you rate his performance?
I thought Jackson was very good. Again, I think he gives us a little something different in his ability to attack and come up the line, and to even dribble out of pressure, to carry out of things where you think maybe teams have us locked in. He's able to kind of scoop past the first guy and open up the field. And I think he's got an interesting connection with Sebo. They tend to find each other around the field, and they combine off of each other. And I don't think it's anything that is more than just a couple of guys who look to play in combination, and when Seba's on that side, they tend to find each other. And I know when Jackson's looking to play forward. He has no fear in playing a ball into Sebastian and just moving off of it. And I think both on the attacking side, and I think also Jackson was good defensively. I thought he's a very good one-on-one defender. He's very tough to beat. He's rangy. He's fast. And I thought today he was a little bit feisty, which is good.
Greg, many of your predecessors have talked about making BMO Field a fortress, and not many of them succeeded. You're setting home a record now for home wins this season. Do you feel that clubs' attitudes towards coming into this stadium now have changed from years gone by?
I would say yes. I think this is I think it's becoming and it probably is a difficult place to come to. I think also with the form that we're finding and the players that we have, that I just think between the stadium, our fans, the city, our team, the performances that we're putting together at home, I think it's quickly becoming a place that teams don't necessarily think they're going to come away with something when they come to Toronto, and that's the feeling we want them to have. I mean, it's when they get on the plane to come here, they should be leery of whether they're going to come away with anything from our stadium and from our city, and I think that's starting to set in a little bit. And we have more work to do for that to become the real reality, but I think we're on the right way.
Other than results at home down the stretch here, how important is it to have this, or how much of an advantage might it be to have all these home games with the playoffs coming up? Because not only are you getting points, but you're also kind of resting, and players are in their own bed. It has to be somewhat of an advantage in that sense too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, when the schedule was put out, we knew at the beginning it was going to be, we're going to have our challenges. But we knew coming in the end we had a real opportunity, which is to not be so traveled at the end. To at home, you'd like to think you could get your performances right, and you'd like to think you play better at home so you could build a rhythm going down the stretch. So, all things considered, I think there's a benefit at the end of the season to being right here in our stadium in front of our fans in our beds, as you say, and getting better and better performances as we work towards this tail end of the season. So that's why I think I said a few weeks ago we always circled this part of the season as sort of moving day. This is the time where in our season we've got to continue to take steps forward, both in our individual and collective performances, but also in points and all those kinds of things. This is why I think we could be a very, very dangerous team at the end of the year, because we have an opportunity right now at home to build on all those things.
Greg, it seemed to take Seb a while to get into the flow of the game today, which is unusual for him. He's usually right in the mix of things. Was it just a case of his being patient and allowing the play to come to him?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, sometimes when teams sit back and they put a lot of numbers in one half of the field, if you will. It's about finding the gaps and the spots that where he's going to make a difference. It's about us as a team opening up the spots, us and a team of moving the ball quick enough that we can unbalance him and get him on the ball where he can do some damage. And I thought, in the game early on, we were moving the ball, but maybe not quite quick enough to where we could split them and find him in good positions. And usually it's, sometimes in the transition moments when we find him out of defensive positions and we get him going forward in transition attack, that's when he really starts to open up and find his way into the game. But, it's not just him. I think part of it is us, and part of it is just him feeling out the game is to find out where the pockets are that he can do the most damage.
Just to follow up, is Seba going to be away from both games with Italy, or do you have a provision to recall him after the first game?
I'm not clear on the recall thing. I know Tim has been working with Italy on all that. My understanding is he would be there for both games, but who knows what happens after the first one or anything like that. But we're planning accordingly that he would be here very late after their second game.
Greg, I previously mentioned it would take 15 wins to make the 12. You're on 14. How would you prepare? How would your team prepare for that one tonight, or if you don't have that one tonight, then moving on to next week?
Yeah, I mean, we want to keep winning. We want to keep getting results. We could make it into the playoffs without the 15th win, depending on, obviously, what happens in the later games. But for us, that's making the playoffs is just the first step. And if that takes Orlando losing tonight or whatever the scenario is, and then we're in, that's fine. We will, but we still have our sights on moving up the ladder as much as we can between now and the end of the season, and being in the right stride as we hit the postseason. However many wins that is, or however many whatever performances, ties, results we get along the way, we want to be as high as we can in the standings so that we can try to, again, get home field or position ourselves as much as possible to be at home.
So is that the beginnings of a playoff beard, or?
I've been asked that a couple. It's kind of a winning streak beard because it started after the first win, and now I have to decide whether I'm going to stay with it or start it over as the playoffs approach. But we'll see. I got to talk to my wife about that.
Was the 10-day break a welcome rest or a momentum concern?
I don't think it's long enough to be too much of a momentum concern. I think it gives us a chance to get a little bit of a recovery, but not too long, and then push on a few things so that we can, again, continue to try to hit our playoff stride and do some things. Sometimes even when the games come week to week, you're very much preparing for the next game, and there's a few things in there that you want to try to address. We have what I would say a few extra days where we can hit on some things maybe that we want to hit as we again get closer and closer to this playoff stretch.
Will players have days off, or is it back at it on Monday or Tuesday?
We'll have a normal start to the week, and then we'll get the beginning of the week going, and then we'll have a couple days where they can recover, and then we'll come back in for what would we call normal preparation for a match coming into New York.